They said he was gone forever. They said the Lunatic Fringe had left the building for the last time. But what if, the most unhinged, most unpredictable, most dangerous man in WWE history just walked back through that door and did it inside the most brutal structure in sports entertainment? Yo, what is up, Suplex Rumble Nation? Welcome back to the channel where we break down, hype up, and absolutely lose our minds over everything WWE. I'm your host, and today, we are going full deep dive on one of the most talked about, debated, and flat-out electric moments in recent WWE memory. Dean Ambrose, the Elimination Chamber 2026, and a return that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming quite like this. Smash that like button right now if you've been waiting for this video, subscribe if you're new to the Rumble, and let's get into it. Before we talk about the moment, let's set the stage because context is everything in professional wrestling, and the Elimination Chamber deserves its flowers as one of WWE's most savage, most cinematic, most spectacularly cruel structures ever invented. Picture this: 6 competitors. A massive steel structure surrounding the ring. Individual pods made of reinforced plexiglass where superstars wait trapped, watching until the timer counts down and their pod door swings open. 2 competitors start in the ring, and every few minutes, a new one enters. You can only be eliminated by pinfall or submission. The last person standing earns either a championship or a title shot. It is, without question, one of the most physically demanding matches in WWE history. Bodies get thrown into steel chains. Heads bounce off plexiglass. The floor of the chamber isn't soft canvas, it's a hard, unforgiving steel grating that has ended careers in open wounds. This is not a match for the faint of heart. This is a match built for lunatics. And that right there is the key word. Now, for anyone who might be newer to the WWE universe, welcome. By the way, glad you're here. Let me paint you a picture of Dean Ambrose, because this man's career is one of the most fascinating stories in modern wrestling. Dean Ambrose burst onto the main roster as part of The Shield, arguably the greatest faction in WWE history alongside Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. From day one, Ambrose was the wild card, the unpredictable one, the guy who'd take a steel chair shot and smile about it, the guy who'd get beaten down, crawl back to his feet, and just laugh. He captured the WWE Championship. He had legendary rivalries with Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, The Miz, Chris Jericho, feuds that produced some genuinely iconic moments. His street fight style, his unorthodox promos, his willingness to do absolutely anything inside that ring made him one of the most beloved characters of his era. Then, in 2019, he left WWE and returned to independent wrestling under his real name, Jon Moxley, where he absolutely thrived. He became one of the most respected wrestlers on the planet. Multiple world championships in other promotions. A reputation rebuilt. A legacy cemented. But here's the thing about legends: they have a gravitational pull. And WWE? WWE is a black hole. An Elimination Chamber 2026? That was the event horizon. Now let's talk about the lead up, because great wrestling moments don't just happen in a vacuum. They are built. Sometimes by WWE creative, sometimes by the internet wrestling community, and sometimes by a perfect storm of both. In the weeks heading into Elimination Chamber 2026, the rumor mill was absolutely churning. Cryptic social media posts, backstage reports from trusted sources in the wrestling journalism world, fans at live events swearing they spotted familiar faces. The kind of energy that crackles through wrestling Twitter. Wrestling X like electricity before a thunderstorm. The Chamber event itself had a stacked card. Championship implications were on the line. Storylines were converging. There was already reason to tune in. But the whispers about a surprise return, about someone special being added to the mix, those whispers became shouts. And then those shouts became a deafening roar. The fan base was split. Some said it was wishful thinking. Some said the timing made no sense. Some said, and I love this, WWE would never do something that actually satisfying. And then the Chamber match began. And everything changed. Okay, this is the part you came for. Let's walk through this moment like it deserves to be walked through, carefully, respectfully, and with the enthusiasm it absolutely earned. The Elimination Chamber match is underway. The crowd is hot. The action has been intense. Competitors have been eliminated. The structure has already told its story through the bodies of the men inside it. And then a pod that nobody expected to matter starts to count down. The arena notices before the commentary team does. You can hear it, that shift in crowd noise, that confused murmur that very quickly turns into something electric. Because the figure standing behind that plexiglass? That silhouette? That posture? The pod opens. Dean Ambrose, in whatever form, whatever gear, whatever iteration, walks into that chamber. And the place absolutely erupts. There is a specific kind of crowd reaction that only happens a handful of times in a generation. It's not just cheering. It's not just surprise. It's the sound of thousands of people simultaneously realizing they are witnessing something they will remember for the rest of their lives as wrestling fans. It's the sound of nostalgia crashing into the present tense at full speed. That is what this moment was. The Lunatic Fringe had come home, and he hadn't come home quietly. Now here's what separates a good return from a great return, and this is something I want us to really appreciate as wrestling fans who understand the craft. A great return isn't just about the pop, it's about what happens after the pop. Because that initial reaction? That's a gift from the audience to the performer. What happens next is the performer's gift back. And from everything fans in attendance and watching live described about this moment, Dean Ambrose delivered. Because that's what he does. He doesn't stand in the moment, he inhabits it. He brings a physicality and an emotional authenticity to his performances that very few people in this business can match. The way he moves in that ring, that reckless abandon, that refusal to protect himself the way most wrestlers do, that ragdoll meets freight train style, it is completely unique. You cannot fake 20 years of that kind of character work. The body knows. The crowd knows. Inside the chamber, with the steel chains and the pods and the grating under his boots, Dean Ambrose is not out of place. He is exactly where he belongs. He is the Elimination Chamber personified. And whether this was a one-night appearance, the beginning of a new chapter, or something in between, what it represented artistically was flawless. Let's zoom out for a second, because I think it's worth talking about what this return means beyond just the moment itself. WWE right now is in a fascinating place. The product is strong. The roster is stacked with incredible talent. But there is always room for a legend, especially when that legend still has something to say. Dean Ambrose returning to WWE is a statement. It's a statement that the door between WWE and the broader wrestling world is more open than it's ever been. It's a statement that performers who left to find themselves elsewhere can come back with something new to offer, not just nostalgia, but evolved, battle-tested versions of themselves. For the younger members of the roster, sharing a structure with Dean Ambrose is an education. For the veterans, it's a reminder of the standard. For the fans, it's a reward for staying loyal through every up and every down of this wild, wonderful, completely unhinged thing we call professional wrestling. And for Dean Ambrose himself? This is a man who has always operated best when he has something to prove. And coming back to WWE, in that chamber, against that caliber of competition, he had everything to prove. And from all accounts he proved it. I want to take a second and shout out the WWE Universe, specifically our community here on Suplex Rumble, because the reaction to this moment was absolutely special to witness in real time. The comments sections, the Reddit threads, the Discord servers, the watch party streams, everything lit up simultaneously. Fans who had been watching wrestling for decades talking about how they screamed at their TV screens. Parents texting their kids. Friends calling each other. People who hadn't watched WWE in years finding out about this moment through a friend and immediately asking, wait, is he back for real? That is the power of a moment done right. It reaches beyond the existing fan base. It reminds people why they fell in love with this crazy art form in the first place. And in an era where wrestling has more competition, more content, and more choices than ever before, moments like this are priceless. They are the reason we keep watching. They are the reason channels like Suplex Rumble exist. Because wrestling, when it is great, is the greatest entertainment on earth. Full stop. So where does this leave us? Where does Dean Ambrose go from here? What does this mean for the WWE Championship picture, for the storylines heading into WrestleMania season, for the future of the most unpredictable career in the industry? Honestly, I don't know. And that is exactly the point. Dean Ambrose has never been predictable. His career has zigged when everyone expected it to zag. He has burned down expectations and rebuilt them from scratch more times than I can count. Whatever comes next is going to be must-see television or must-see streaming. We're living in the future after all. What I do know is this: Elimination Chamber 2026 gave us something real, something earned, something that reminded every single one of us why we are wrestling fans. And that is worth celebrating at full volume. This has been Suplex Rumble.